Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the founder of a company who's created a clothing line for kids with special needs. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
I love stories about entrepreneurs and how they came up with their idea. And I'm going to introduce my next guest, Kameron Brooks. He is the founder of the Charlotte Letter, and I'm going to call you an accidental entrepreneur because you didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. You were filling a need.
Very true. Yeah.
So tell us what the Charlotte Letter is.
Yeah, so the Charlotte Letter is a clothing brand designed specifically for kids with chronic illnesses. So kids who have cerebral palsy, HIE, epilepsy, feeding tubes, they're still in diapers, completely immobile. And so we decided to start a clothing line that is specifically would meet every need that kids have that struggle with everyday life. And so these clothes are designed for them to still have access to the medical ports while still being both fashionable and functional. And so that's why we do it.
Absolutely. We're going to show a video when you first started out. So this would have been 2 years ago when you're launching the clothing line. You were featured on the local news in Sherman. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Some Texoma parents opened a company this week that creates clothing for children with disabilities. ABC 10's Becca Kashork shares their story.
2 Sherman parents struggled for years to find clothes that worked for their daughter with cerebral palsy, having to sacrifice her privacy to complete tasks like feeding and changing in public. Now they're helping other parents in the same boat by creating an adaptive clothing line. Cameron and Stephanie Brooks' daughter, Charlotte, was born with the umbilical cord around her neck, depriving her brain of oxygen.
She has cerebral palsy. She's nonverbal, non-mobile, has HIE, as well as microcephaly.
Charlotte is 4 now and outgrowing some of the public features her parents relied on outside of the house.
Most changing tables don't allow for kids with special needs to be on it unless they're infants. And so for public settings of changing her, it's either laying her down on the public bathroom floor or in the back of our car.
For years, they've had trouble finding clothes that will allow her feeding tube and diaper to be accessible.
We had to strip her naked to feed her, to give her medications, and do anything we need to do to change her diaper.
The Brooks had the idea to create a clothing line for kids with special needs.
This was just birthed out of a desire for our daughter to be taken care of in public settings without feeling embarrassed.
The Charlotte Letter was created, a romper that contains hidden slits to access feeding tubes and a zipper along the bottom to change a diaper easily.
It wasn't just for like one specific condition, but it could work for a whole bunch, especially with these complex kiddos that have more than one thing.
The company opened their website this week and they're already connecting with families with similar stories.
One of the biggest blessings about this is simply parents having that, finally someone understands exactly what we're going through.
The Brooks hope their company can educate others about disabilities.
So there's kind of an education aspect of letting people into our lives and what we go through and those struggles that people don't realize.
You can find their clothing on the website, thecharlotteletter.com, and follow their Facebook to keep up with the company's work. In studio, I'm Becca Kashork.
Now, there's an update. Cameron told me during the piece that he lost his daughter recently. So
Yep, Charlotte passed away nearly 4 months ago, exactly on my birthday. And, I know this is going to sound really harsh to hear, but it was probably the best birthday gift I've ever received in my life. And don't have to worry about staying in the hospital for 4 to 6 months and trying to get her taken care of and watching her struggle. And so for her to finally be laid to rest was the best birthday gift I probably have ever received in my life.
Wow.
And so grateful for it.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And for sharing this gift with the world, because this will live on for generations. Talk about the market that you guys kind of discovered. I mean, it's a big market, isn't it?
It is a huge market, and to try to do that all here, I'll do my best, Jeff.
Sure.
So the market and how we reach people is very simple. So we know that these moms are constantly inside of the hospital. We know that dads are working hard to take care of all the medical complex, all the medical bills. And so we know that when they have downtime, the first place most parents who have kids with disabilities are going to attend is a coffee shop. And they just need some type of belonging. And so they gather around a coffee shop with other parents who have kids with special needs, or they may go to a park and gather with other families who have kids with disabilities. The market is constantly growing. It's growing by maybe 7% every year of kids with disabilities. And so we see a wide range from kids from the age of newborn up into the age of death. Even if they're 66 years old, they still function as a 3-year-old. And so it's a huge market.
We've got a little promo video that we're going to roll, and I want you to kind of narrate this. You guys are always kind of designing and reinventing, aren't you?
Yeah, we have to. And so, I mean, the clothing that you see here, we have to design and reinvent. We want it to be very functional for our daughter. But as we continue to grow, we realize that there are more needs than just my daughter. And so we deal with other parents who may have little people. And so dealing with little people and all their different measurements and things along those ways, we have to think about that. We know that we want kids to be very independent. And so while kids need to be independent, they need to have clothing, if they have cerebral palsy, easy to take off and easy to put on. And so we're constantly adapting and changing to meet more needs.
You know what surprised me as a fellow entrepreneur is that no one had thought of this before. Really, you're the first one who ever came up with clothing for special needs?
I wouldn't say that we're the first one. And here's why I said that. I would say that we're probably the first one to take it public. Most families of kids with disabilities are more likely to adopt clothing within their own home, to use as many tools and resources that they have. However, most of those families don't know that it exists because it's privately owned. And so what we did is that even though we introduced it publicly first, we see that the market continues to grow. Big brands are catching on now, which is creating this awareness that this is a huge need.
Sure. Yeah. And you've got a great team around you. We found a video that you produced a little while ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Well, before I accepted the internship, I had a lot of summer plans. I had a bunch of trips planned and just a nice, relaxing summer planned. But then my friend Sarah told me about the Charlotte Letter and the internship opportunity. And after talking with Cameron about it, I realized it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And so I canceled all my plans the very next day and decided that I wanted to intern with the Charlotte Letter. My idea of clothing has changed a lot. I don't have to think about how I put clothes on or anything like that, but when you're dealing with kids that have special needs or disabilities, that's the number one thing that you think about is how am I going to access their feeding tube today, or what's going to be comfortable for them and what are they going to look cute in. So one of the cool things I got to do was go to an expo, and it's a place where people with disabilities can come and find resources. I feel like when I saw them in it, I was so excited because I was like, this is the real deal. Like, whoa, like they're actually wearing our clothes. I guess I just felt like oh, well, that's easier for the mom or the dad. That'll be easier for them because they don't have to like take off all their kids' clothes to change the diaper or to feed them. Like, it'll just make their lives easier. So I was like, that's really cool. The photo shoot was a lot of fun. I got to see the kids in the clothing for the first time ever. I had never seen that before. I got to see how what a G-tube looks like for the first time. I got to see how it works, and it gave me a lot of ideas of what I need to work on and what people will need. So I chose the Madeline and Hope dress because I love anything with a collar, exposed zippers, and it gives accessibility for kids to be able to put it on by themselves and for parents to be able to put it on easily. And I chose the 2 pockets on the sides because I thought it was super cute, and the collar was cute. I don't know, everything about it was cute, and it was the first thing that came to mind. So I was like, let's do it. Let's make it. What I want the world to know about kids with special needs is that they shouldn't be looked at or treated any differently than anyone else, and they should have the same opportunities.
Okay, give us an update.
Yeah, Emmeline is actually working with Old Navy right now as a fashion designer. And so which tells me that her internship was actually really good and we were able to help her. So It's really good.
And you were telling me off camera that the market continues to grow and even some of the big stores are starting to get involved.
Absolutely. There are probably over 100 million kids right now who have some form of disabilities here in the U.S. I live here in the North Dallas area, so I get to see a lot of the hospitals like so many children's hospitals, I don't know if I can give out names, but so many children's hospitals that are locally here and 600, 700 beds full of kids with disabilities, just one hospital. But we also have big clothing brands that are coming out now with adaptive clothing lines. So you have JCPenney's, you have Tommy Hilfiger, and Kohl's, and the market just continues to grow because people are starting to realize that this is a huge need. And along our vision is that we believe that everyone should have accessible clothing for them. And so it's good to see other companies taking this on as well.
We're going to scroll down a page from your website because I was just impressed at the variety of clothing that you're producing. How many different, types of clothing are you producing?
Oh, mercy. We have a lot of clothing, so you can see some of the dresses up there. So we have adapted dresses. Those dresses are a lot for kids with feeding tubes, independence. We have overalls. Overalls have magnetic access and opening, as well as zipper access for diapers. And so jeans, jackets, sweatshirts, t-shirts, everything that you wear on a regular basis, we make.
Wow.
And so
is it tough to predict how many to order or manufacture, or is it kind of like made to order?
No. So Jeff, I think if any clothing line had that answer down, I would really call them out on it, because I don't think there's any way to for sure know how many people are actually going to order. But we are not made to order. We make everything within a bulk. We manufacture everything in-house. So we design it, we cut it, we sew it. We have everything in-house that we do. So everything that we do is in bulk. We stock off our inventory. We send it off to Amazon, and people can order it throughout the world looking for these clothing.
And I think you started in your garage, and you now have a pretty big place.
Yeah, so we started off in the garage, which was really fun and a lot cheaper. And then we moved into a 3,500 square foot facility, and then now we're moving into a 32,000 square foot facility within the next month.
Wow. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
What a legacy that you're leaving for your daughter.
Yeah.
We're going to end with the website, which is thecharlotteletter.com. The great Kameron Brooks. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
You bet. That's it for now.